Welcome to the Gill Athletics Connections podcast, where we bring you track coaches from around the country and connect them to you. I'm your host, Mike Cunningham, National Sales Manager for Gill Athletics. It is my honor to bring you the stories of these men and women and learn with you what makes them tick. This week, I've got a doozy. I was able to sit down with Boston University head coach Gabe Sanders. Now, this guy, he gets Boston University. What a great fit. I haven't seen such a great fit between a coach and an institution like this in quite a while. I think you'll quite enjoy that. And also, Gabe dropped some knowledge on us here. This is a really good one. I think you're going to like it. I certainly had a great time with Gabe and look forward to seeing him again. And so we just jump right into it, man. This is the true coach's dinner right here. You are eating gummy worms.
Yep, sour gummy worms.
And a Cliff Bar.
And a Cliff Bar.
What flavor Cliff Bar are we going with?
This is the crunchy peanut butter.
Nice.
Crunchy peanut butter.
Nice.
It's all in the mood. Like sometimes I can go crunchy peanut butter. Sometimes it got to be a little tangy with the carrot cake or something like that. It's all how the
mood hits you.
How the mood hits me.
Well, Gabe, thanks for joining me here tonight, man. This is great. I love being here in Boston. What a great town this place is. It only took me an hour for traffic from the airport to get over here, so that was a nice treat. Hey, man, let's just get right into it. So you're the head coach at Boston University. You were just at Stanford University as the assistant coach there for how many years were you
4
there?
years.
4 years. It's a little warmer.
A little bit.
West Coast than East Coast. And you used to coach here. So what brought you back? What's this idea of being here at Boston University?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, and some people have heard this from me before, but I think of it as, from a micro to macro standpoint as to why I came back. So first and foremost, I was here for 7 years.
Okay.
I was here for 7 years before I went to Stanford University. But the motivating factor wasn't to come back to Boston, someplace that I'm accustomed to, and it's just like a good fallback or anything like that. I believe that Boston University is a sleeping giant. I mean that in my heart of hearts.
Okay.
I would not have gone to another job if I didn't feel it was somewhere that I could be successful at the highest level.
Right.
Because, when I was here for 7 years, we were pretty good, and I know there was still a lot left on the table when we were here. Not for lack of effort at all,
right,
necessarily by us or the staff. But then going to Stanford, it was, a whole nother level being there. Mm-hmm. Our program came within a couple points of a Division I national championship. 2 consecutive years, we were Program of the Year, indoor, outdoor cross country for women. Another year in a row was for the men. And believe it or not, there are so many similarities between a place like Stanford and a place like Boston.
Interesting.
Even if you disregard the weather.
Sure.
Disregard the weather. But from a micro standpoint, the track program itself.
Okay.
When I was here years ago, and you look at the history of Boston University athletics and track and field, it's a pretty storied history. We had some, at the time, some all-time greats in the 80s and 90s in the middle distances. In
right.
fact, we've been on the podium a few times in our history.
Right here on your desk is the proof of that. The third place in 1986 for the men. Third place as a team. That's I had no idea. That's impressive.
Not a lot of people know that. We've been in the top 10 numerous times back then. Our school record board could go up with a lot of Power 5 schools, like a lot of Power 5 schools.
That's always a good test, is to look at what the school record board
Yep,
is.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's funny. I believe I looked online, look at results, and I think the University of Texas's school record was set in the 200 this weekend at 2052 or something like that. Our record was faster than them up until this weekend. We had a young man at 2056 or something like that indoors as recently as 2017.
That's interesting for so many reasons, right? Because University of Texas, storied sprint program, all that kind of good stuff. But then also that it's a sprint that we're talking about. Like if you just said maybe the mile or something, because of the tradition that's been here with the distance, would have made more sense. But the 200, wow.
Yeah, you can be fast anywhere you go if you're dialed in. You have the resources and the right people involved on both sides, and multiple sides.
My favorite trivia question, and you know this answer, so it's cheating, is who owns the NCAA women's indoor 200-meter record? Because most people would guess someone from LSU or Texas, etc., and it's right here in Boston, in Bingtown, right?
Gabby
It's
Thomas.
Harvard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that's my favorite trivia question. I love that. That's awesome.
So to keep answering your question, there is history there.
Mm-hmm.
There is history there, and we did some good things as recently as the 2010s in recent years.
Okay.
So number one, there is history behind the track program. There is something there. And then beyond that, the resources of the track program. I mean, you came in a minute ago and you said, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really understands until they get here, even if you see it in pictures. But there's nothing mid-major about our resources.
Right.
We have one of the, I'd say, easily top 10 indoor facilities in the country. And in my opinion, take it for what it's worth, it is the fastest banked 200-meter track in the country, if not the world. Wow. In fact, I'm just going to say it's the fastest 200-meter bank track in the world.
Now, people from A&M are going to hear this, and Arkansas, they're going to hear this. Those are bold statements to make, Gabe.
That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
But if you look at a lot of our facility records that are pretty fast, they're not necessarily done by people that you see at the NCAA finals.
Sure.
2050 flat, 45-17. For the 400, 304.2. Western Kentucky did that by themselves last year.
Wow, yeah.
51 seconds for the 400. Francina did that a few years ago.
It would be interesting to see facility records with the NCAA meets taken out.
Exactly. That's another big part of it. And
absolutely.
Also a lot of pro meets taken out. Like you take out the Tyson meet, you take out the New Balance Grand Prix, you take out a lot of them.
Yeah. You put fast people together, no matter where they're going, they're going to run fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah. So that's
on a micro level that you can't.
And then let's expand it out. I mean, the athletic department has a very storied history in the region, from a New England standpoint, and from an administrative support standpoint. They want to be really good. They came here and said, Gabe, what is your long-term vision? It's not, how can we win the Patriot League, but how can we take it to the next level? Because we were pretty good at the conference level when you and Robin were here before, but what's the plan? You've experienced the mountaintop. Do you see something like that here? And I said, absolutely. And we have the support. I don't think there's a lot of athletic directors in the Power Five or anywhere that knows every single name of every single cross-country athlete.
Oh, yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. He was at our home cross-country meet this year with the BU cross-country track and field shirt on, over his button-down. Like, they
that says a lot about
are
him.
Really excited about us.
Yeah.
They're really, really excited about us and the staff. So then you expand further. The university itself is one of the top 40 academic institutions in the U.S. World Report, and along with different reports, top 50, 60 academic institutions in the world. So we are in the top 1% of academic prestige.
What's Boston U known for academically? Was engineering, architect?
Engineering, it's a perennial power in engineering. The Questrom School of Business, School of Management is a perennial both undergraduate and graduate program. Computer science is coming up. We're getting a brand new multi-million dollar computer data.
It was 3 multis.
Yeah. Computer science building, one of the most sophisticated of its kind.
Wow.
Pre-med law, the Sargent School of Health and Rehabilitation, one of the preeminent physical therapy programs in the country.
Pretty diverse.
Yeah. It's it's also a very diverse academic pool. Multiple schools. Education is a big one here.
Okay.
Obviously the pre-med route. Right. There's the humanities as well.
Private school?
Private school.
So what's it cost to go to school here all in?
All in, $75,000.
Is that right?
$75,000. But
isn't that amazing?
As of this year, whatever your demonstrated need is through the FAFSA and CSS profile will be met.
Wow.
So if you need $60,000, you're going to get $60,000. So they're putting their money where their mouth is, literally. They did a very concerted effort through fundraising over the last decade to make this an affordable option for students.
Right.
They went for it.
Wow.
So that's something that is, again, another advantageous piece when it comes to recruiting, between we have athletic scholarships and we have, financial aid packages that we could be able to offer. So that's an exciting prospect from, having a diverse and high qualitative and quantitative pool. So
now you mentioned athletic scholarships. I thought, and I could be just out of the loop, Patriot League was kind of like the Ivy League that didn't have athletic scholarships.
The Patriot League, it's school to school.
Oh, okay.
It's not a policy.
Okay.
It's not a policy in the league.
But we do have it here in Boston.
We do have it here at Boston.
Good.
So that's the school at large. Phenomenal academic institution.
Yeah.
And then you take it a step further and expand out to the city itself.
Yeah.
It's Boston.
Absolutely.
You say Boston anywhere in the world, you know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a great city.
You want it, whether it is in New York City, if you're from LA, if you're from Japan, if you're from France, if you're from Belgium, if you're from anywhere, Australia, Boston. It's an international hub and it's world renowned.
Right.
So we just went on for 10 plus minutes of all these different reasons that this is a phenomenal opportunity. So BU is a great job.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity. And what we did at Stanford, what we just described about Boston, you could say all those things about Stanford, and people do.
Sure.
Between San
Great
Francisco, great academics,
knows where it
support,
is.
everybody knows academic prestige, athletics, scholarships, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little warmer out there, but again, it's really a mentality thing. And again, having this indoor facility, as I say, it's always 70 in the TTC.
Yeah.
Right. So with all those factors, I'm like, there's no reason that this place can't get it done.
Okay.
And I was so honored and excited and humbled when I got the call to interview, and B, when I got the call to say, hey, you're our guy.
Yeah.
You're our guy.
Did that happen late in the summer or early in the summer? Like, how did that transition?
Middle of the summer, essentially July.
Okay, so that's good. Instead of being like right before school starts. Which, it always amazes me. We'll be at the national meet talking in June, and it feels like we all go home and we blink, and the kids are coming back to school already.
Yeah.
There is no summer, especially when you factor in U.S. champs or trials and things like that in there. It's unbelievable. So that was good timing. And you brought you have a family, you have a beautiful wife and a beautiful little boy. Yeah. Was that a factor at all, or were both kind of the same as far as family?
Yes and no. So my wife is from the area. My wife is from the Boston area, south towards the Cape. But 100% honest, and it's easy for me to say this, but that was a bonus. My wife had a very good job out in California. She's a nurse practitioner in women's health. Yeah. Great job, great situation. And it was a sacrifice for her to come back out here. It wasn't a thing where, we're dying to get home and she wants to be home and close to her relatives. Right. That was not it. It wasn't, BU's open, let's get back home. This is a good job. And it was on the very, very, very short list of places I said to myself, that's a place that I would love to take the helm of. That isn't necessarily an obvious choice.
What's the comparison for like cost of living? Because obviously Palo Alto area is famous for there is no cost of living. It's just you can't. But Boston ain't exactly cheap.
It's not cheap either. But I'll tell you what, it's way less threatening than it is Silicon Valley. Okay, yeah. Just to give you an idea, a quick idea. Our neighbor, when we first moved there, retired from out in California. Out in California, when we first moved in, within a few months she retired. And she just said, I can't live off of, my retirement right now. I can't do it. I'm going to have to move with my sister back in Connecticut, ironically. Yeah. And so she's like, I put all I had in this place years and years and years ago, but we'll see what I get. And she said she bought it for her place for $330,000.
Okay. How long has she been there?
A number of years. Okay. I think, like between 10 and 20 years.
Okay. So
between
bought it
10
for
and 20 years. Bought it for $330,000.
Oh man!
Put it on the market for $750,000.
Okay.
Open house on Friday. Open house on Saturday. Closed. All the paperwork signed, sealed, and delivered. After 11 blind bids, 30% down at $880,000.
Oh my goodness!
For a 780 square foot, 1 bed, 1 bath, one garage.
780 foot.
1 bed, 1
That's bath. No one can see this, so no one can tell if I'm being true. That's the size of this office. Holy cow.
So that was the market.
Wow. Man, it's legendary.
Yeah.
The cost and whatnot. I assume you guys probably rented.
Oh, we rented.
Yeah,
we definitely rented.
Which is not cheap, but you know, to have a down payment on a house
Yeah.
and all that out there, it's just amazing.
A down payment out there would be a full house here.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, depending on where you go.
That's
which is fine. But again, it's interesting. You asked about why I came back here and whatnot. And my first month or so, when I was here, I went out to lunch with one of my assistants, and he asked me, he said, well, do you miss Stanford at all? And without hesitation, without thinking, I said, no. And he was like, oh, dang, was it that bad?
Right, yeah.
You know, and then I stopped to think, I'm like, no, I loved it.
Right.
You know, I loved the staff. I loved my job, the kids on the team,
Right.
the department was amazing, you know, the weather was great. But I said, you know what, I'm just happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy here. I'm at the helm of one of the most preeminent academic institutions in the world, with an athletic department that has my back, with great resources. Right. You know, and a bonus is like I do get to see my 2-year-old grow up with his grandparents, you know, on one side, which is really cool, and you know, I get to do it my way, as they say.
Right.
You know, not that there was anything wrong with the way we were doing it, or we're going to do it under J.J. Clark, who had come in, but just to have a vision and to be able to come in and have the ability to take the time to see it through is so enticing and exciting.
And you know, we were talking earlier. You know, you're one of the guys that I don't know how I know, right? I just felt like I've known you for quite a few years now. And one of the things that has always stuck out to me about knowing you is you're one of the guys that I would say, and there's a good handful of these type of coaches, a cerebral type of coach. You know, probably how we know each other is actually through our mutual friends like Kaba and Mark and Ron Griggs and those guys, stuff. You know, great friends and great people. But it was interesting. So I've seen you coach at a meet, which is different than the actual coaching, you know, the Monday through Friday coaching. You know, I got to observe you coach your kids, your sprinters and hurdlers today for about 30 minutes. Man, you love coaching. It is evident.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool to watch your enthusiasm. There was a drill you were doing over probably 24-inch, not hurdles, but, you know, mini plastic hurdles and whatnot. Yeah. I probably should know
tall
what those
wickets.
are called, right?
Tall wickets.
Oh, yeah. See, when I coached, this is my old man voice coming through here. When I coached, we didn't call them wickets.
Yeah.
They were struggling a little bit on the drill that you were working on, and then one of them got it really well. And I don't know that I've seen that much different between your reaction then and when your 4x4 team set the school record at Stanford. I remember being there for that. Like, you were genuinely excited for the athlete. Where does that come from?
I love what I do. I love what I do, and I love being a facilitator. And also it comes from a empathetic place of, like, this is a moment for this person.
Interesting. Okay.
There's a moment for this person. Like, they got something.
Right.
And also, from a psychological standpoint, a reaction like that, I would hope, is now burned into their brain. They now associate that positive, good feeling with that new sensation that they felt on said drill or rep or exercise or effort, as it were.
Right.
So there's a psychological component to it of, like, wow, that was great. I want more of that. You know, that positive feedback.
Kind of like the dopamine hit of different things. Yeah.
Precisely. Okay. So it's 100% genuine. I am 100% excited, but I do know that there's a psychological and physiological component to it as to when I can share that with them on an extra level, then starts to become an association there. Right. And you also feel like from the other student athletes that, oh, I want that feeling. You know, I one thing that I sometimes do is I didn't do it because I'm like, I don't want to kick because I still got to go, but I would find the nearest cone and I would punt it.
Okay.
So after a year or two, the goal for an athlete, you know, in the individual goal meetings was like, I want to do something that will make coach kick a cone.
So that was a positive.
Yeah.
Normally it's a negative.
No, when I kick a cone,
you kick out of frustration or whatnot. So kicking a cone is like the tippy top of a practice.
Like yes.
Yeah.
Give me more of that.
So their goal. So when you had individual goal meetings,
For some kids,
some of their meeting was, I want to do something.
Yeah, like make coach kick a cone. Make Sanders kick a cone.
But it must be working then if that's what
Yeah.
their goals are. That's an interesting concept about how to accomplish the big picture goals, whether it's running a PR or scoring in the conference or regionals or making it to nationals. A step there is making coach kick. If I can make coach kick a cone, I am obviously doing the things to help these other number goals and place goals and stuff like that.
Did you see her face afterwards?
I was too far away. I didn't.
It was all teeth.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, that felt good.
So where did you? Let's take a step back here. Where did you go to school? Did you run? I assume you ran track.
So I went to the University of Michigan, and I was an attempted long jumper. When I say I was an attempted long jumper, I got hurt 3 straight preseasons.
Oh no!
So my freshman year, I was dealing with bone spurs in my foot that I didn't know that I had until I got them diagnosed at the end of the summer. Thought I had tendonitis in my ankle that was misdiagnosed by our trainers. So I had ankle surgery that fall, and that was pretty much it for the year. Then sophomore year, the week before Thanksgiving, I had to have an emergency appendectomy after thinking I had food poisoning for 2 days.
Holy cow!
That was not fun. That was a fun Thanksgiving. And so that knocked me out. And then my junior year, I made it to the December inter-squad meet. And
that was a big goal right there.
Yeah, and my 3rd or 4th attempt, I got a 2nd-degree tear in my hamstring. And pull, tear, what have you. And I'm laying in the sand. All I want to do is let out an F-bomb. And I take a deep breath and just go, that's it.
That's it.
Like 3 strikes. I was like, somebody's telling. I looked up.
Yeah,
the
that's
sky.
right. That's a good point.
I looked up the sky and I was like, someone's telling me, bro, this ain't for me.
Yeah. Someone's like, I thought that appendectomy would do it for you.
Yeah, like, dude, take a hint.
Wow.
But it was one of those things where I love track and field. Like, for better or for worse, that was part of my identity.
Sure.
You know, you talk about the psychology of athletics and whatnot, and identity and whatnot. That being a track and field person or associated with it was a part of my, and I couldn't imagine walking away from it. But I loved track, I loved the team, I loved the coaches, I loved the atmosphere. So I said, I want to do this, but I can't do it as an athlete. You know, I couldn't do it before, I can't do it anymore moving forward. So I went to them and said, look, my body can't do this. Take me off the roster, give it to another walk-on, and, like, you know, I want to help out as best I can. Make me a manager, make me a water boy. I don't care. Whatever you want out of
contribute.
I'm happy to keep doing this, you know.
What was your major?
I was a sport management and communications major, SMC. So
did you think you wanted to go into coaching, or you just knew you maybe wanted to do something in sports?
So that's a funny segue. So I knew I wanted to be in sports. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted. I started out as a physical education major. My father was a physical education health science teacher, following his footsteps. But I wanted to do something in business. I found that I had an affinity to that for administrative stuff, so I switched over to that. But I was never exactly sure. I thought at one point, do I want to go into marketing? Do I want to go into sport law and become an agent? Do I want to... I didn't know, but what I did know was I love track, and I love being a part of it, being part of the Michigan track team. And so I became a manager. But over time, at the time, it was a separate program, so only 3 coaches. And the division was cross-country distance and Ron Warhurst, sprints, hurdles, and Fred LaPlante, and then all of field events with Ricky DeLigney.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that name. Okay.
Yeah, so he's retired from coaching long since, but awesome guy. Uncle Ricky.
Yeah.
Uncle Ricky. My man. And, but imagine, like, I'm sure any coach listening at the collegiate level was, like, coaching all the field events.
Right.
All the field events.
Right.
So I ended up getting assigned groups to supervise. And
I assume the jumps.
Yep, the jumps. And otherwise,
not the throws.
But even if they were doing a circuit, and there weren't many throwers, there was maybe 1 or 2 at the time, and then this coaching staff kind of had a epiphany, like, oh, Gabe kind of has an affinity for this, like, thing, and something I didn't even realize. For those 3 years leading up to that moment, I was doing more studying about track and field, training theory, biomechanics, physiology, trying to make myself a better athlete.
Right.
Not realizing I was starting my coaching pedigree.
Huh.
So even though because I started out as a physical ed major, then sports business, what have you, but I was studying all this kinesiology. I was in the school of kinesiology. So I had, and it got to the point where, like, you know what, Gabe kind of has a knack for this. So my senior year, they actually made me an undergraduate assistant student coach.
All right.
And administrative assistant, so a higher title. And then I ended up having 3 managers that answered to me or worked under me.
Wow.
Which was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I was an associate manager of the indoor Big Ten championships, working under Fred LaPlante, who directed at the time. Taking on a lot of responsibility, and it really wasn't until like late in the fall that I had an epiphany that this is it. And that was under also David Kaiser came in. David Kaiser came in my 4th year.
Shout out to Dave Kaiser.
Shout out to Dave.
He's,
he was, I'll get to it shortly, but I helped out Dave quite a bit, and there was one weekend in, I don't know, maybe October, where Dave was gone for the weekend because he was with the cross-country team trying to get to know them more, which is great. So he gave me a workout to give to all the field event athletes, the jumpers primarily, and I took them through the workout. And I'm coaching guys that I was like in the same recruiting class with and stuff like that.
That's a good point, yeah.
And I sent them down to the weight room afterwards, and then the sprinters came in because Coach LaPlante was, I believe, away recruiting that weekend or something along those lines. So I worked with them and then sent them down the weight room. I went into the weight room and helped the strength staff, helped supervise. I was in there until the last guy.
All right.
I think it might have been Nathan Taylor, Canadian sprinter at the time. And as I'm walking out, for whatever reason, I drove to the facility that day. Maybe I was on campus or doing some errands around town. But I'll never forget this moment. That walking up to my car, I stop and I see my reflection in the glare of the glass. Okay. And I just stop and I laugh at myself.
All right.
Because I realized when I saw myself, I had this huge grin on my face. Didn't even realize it. And I just laughed, and it hit me. I'm like, this is it. This is what I want to do.
So you can pinpoint to that day that was the day
that
like,
moment.
I'm a coach.
I'm a coach.
Yeah.
I want to be a collegiate track and field coach.
Wow.
I 100% see myself doing this forever.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the few lucky people that had that moment.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah, some people luck into it. Some people think they want to do it and then get into it and realize they don't. Yeah.
That's so I saw Dave Kaiser that following Monday, told him what happened.
Yeah.
Dave, if anyone knows Dave, he doesn't blink.
Right.
He just was at his desk. He's like, so, you want to do this, huh? I said, yeah, absolutely. Like, you sure you want to do this? And I said, at 100%, Dave. He said, you must not be a fan of money. But okay, if you're in it.
Hey, he could be in this office right now. He'd still have that same conversation. You sure you still want to do this?
Yeah.
You're still not a fan, huh?
Shout out to Dave Kaiser.
That's it, baby. Hey, that does, I meet and know coaches around the country. And it is amazing. There are coaches out there, and you are one of these guys, Gabe. You could do anything. I mean, there's a lot of other things you could be doing that could be making more money and having just as much effect on the world and its population, things like that. It really goes towards who you are as a person, as a character. Not that you're stepping down to be a coach. I mean, I think college track coaches, do some of the most selfless stuff that I've ever seen. So did you change your major, or is that what you ended up?
That's what I ended up doing.
Okay.
And that's also where I actually got into coaching education, because I asked Dave. I said, what classes should I be taking in kinesiology, what have you? So, well, if you want to be a coach, here's the first thing you need to formally do. He said, get into USATF. Coaches Ed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Coaches Ed, because he was in there in the early days.
Okay.
The early days in the early 90s.
Right.
He did his level 1, 2, and eventually 3.
Yeah.
He said Coaches Ed is critical. He got, and that. So I did my first level 1 in in 2003 or 4.
Okay.
With Carl Geisler.
Oh, yeah. Good old Carl.
At U Chicago.
Yeah, so it was Chicago. Yeah.
Yep. So with Carl. And he was
so 03, 04?
03, 04.
Okay. So I was at Mississippi State probably at that time.
Yeah. Okay. So, and honestly, that's when I fell in love with Coaches Ed.
Yeah.
I was like,
great.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love Coaches Ed.
Yeah.
And so that was a big start. A big moment in my journey was my first formal Coaches Ed, falling in love with that and having that great experience. And then David got me in touch with Ralph White, who was at Williams College at the time, and that's where I got my first professional job at Williams College.
Okay. No, I don't know much about Williams College. Where's that?
Williams College is in Western Massachusetts,
Okay.
Division III school in the NESCAC conference.
Yeah, okay.
And it is the most prestigious liberal arts school in the country.
Oh.
The number 1 rated liberal arts school in the country. Like
Okay.
we're talking Ivy League status.
Right.
Half the time you're competing with Ivies. You're competing with either Harvard, Princeton, or Yale for students, just in general.
Right.
You know, if you want a Harvard education but you don't like the city, you go to Williams.
Got it.
That's,
okay.
That's basically the best way I can describe it.
And that's in here in Massachusetts?
Yep, Western
so,
Mass.
You went to University of Michigan. Are you from Michigan? Is that
Yep.
where high school? Okay.
Yeah,
so
born and raised, went to Pioneer across the street.
Oh, Pioneer. Who was the hurdles coach there for a long time? I think he passed away in the last...
Oh, Brian Westfield.
Yeah, absolutely.
The legend Brian Westfield.
I had an athlete, well, I recruited her and didn't get her, but now we're good friends. Andrea Mosher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moshi,
yeah.
Moshi.
Yeah. Pioneer, man. Put out some great athletes. Good Lord.
Yes.
So born and raised in Michigan and college in Michigan, and then all of a sudden your first job, you're out in New England, man, which is totally different than Midwest Michigan, Big Ten country. You're out here now.
I was very familiar with New England, though, because I have family in Newport.
Oh,
so
okay.
I've been used to the Northeast.
So you visited.
I visited, what have you.
Okay.
We had family friends in a neighboring town, so that helped.
Okay.
But another good thing was we were really good. We were one of the best programs in Division III.
Yeah, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, my second year, we actually won a Division III national title.
Oh, wow.
Indoors. Yeah, kind of unexpected. It was one of those things where everyone just kind of showed up and did their job, and we had a hell of a meet.
Man, I did not know you have been on a national champion staff.
Yep.
I mean, that's a rare air.
Yeah.
Not many people. Everybody attains to it, I think.
Yeah.
Not many people actually can do it. It's 1 year, two a year, indoor and outdoor, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean that kind of is where it started. I'm accustomed to being a part of high performing environments.
Yeah.
You know, my entire professional career. I mean, Ralph White ran it like a Power 5 D1. That was his goals. He coached at SMU. He coached at George Mason. He coached at Clemson. You know, he brought a different mentality there.
Right.
You know, probably a little more than, you know, Division III Williams was used to, to be quite frank. But, you know...
and another academic institution.
At an academic institution of all places. I mean, at the time we had a 200-foot discus thrower. He was the number 1 ranked guy in all divisions, Dan Austin.
Oh, my God.
You know, I mean, we had some good teams and good kids. And, you know, I really enjoyed that. And then after my second year, I got the call to go to Colgate University.
Okay. Yep.
And, you know, at the time they weren't very good, but it was a Division I program. So in my mind, I said, let's get back into Division I. Let's see what we can do. And in my interview, I met some of the guys on the team, and I was like, there's something here. There's something to this. And fast forward, we did some pretty special things that year. That they were 7th out of 8th place for 3 years running, and it was always a question of how close are they going to be to last place.
Right.
You know, and our over-the-top goal was, can we get in the top half of the league?
All right.
You know, can we get 4th?
All right.
And in fact, you know, everyone's familiar with my shiny head, but I had some wavy curls back in the day.
Really?
Granted, I was thinning, but I was holding on to what I had.
You were heading this way.
I was heading this way anyway. I probably should have gone earlier, but I arrived on campus there, and halfway through the fall, I'm like, we could do some special things. So I said to the guys, I was like, I'll tell y'all what, if we get in the top half, 4th place, I will shave my head.
Yeah.
And as the season went on, they're like, Coach, get the clippers ready. And I'm like, you gotta earn it.
Right.
We get to the indoor conference meet, and we had a great first day. Qualified a bunch of people for finals, had a lot of people in the top sections of finals.
Most important day.
We won the DMR the night before, like had a great momentum. And we had one more team meeting that night. And afterwards, I thought to myself, I've given these guys every get one for the Gipper speech I can get, you know, and I know there's only a certain age demographic that's going to get that reference.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
But I've given them every speech I can give them to hide. What else can I do? And I thought, ultimate show of face. So I went to the store, bought some clippers, bought some razor blades, and there was a kid on the team that bicked his head. He was a captain, so I called up him and I called up the team barber, another senior, to my room, and they were like, Coach, what's up? And then I go to the bathroom, and I pull out the clipper and said, let's go. And they were like, let's go, let's go. Before the final day.
Wow, you were showing so much trust, and holy cow.
And, you know, fast forward the next day, I wore a ski cap into the meet. We brought the guys together for one last team meeting at Bucknell, and at Bucknell, your team area is a squash court, so it's isolated.
Okay.
So we did that.
Okay.
We did a mental imagery exercise that we had been doing. Close your eyes for a couple minutes, imagine your perfect day, open your eyes, a couple people share what they saw, and I said, y'all, like, in order to do something, you have to believe that you can do it, like, honestly. And what is believing? Seeing, right? Seeing is believing. That's why we do these exercises. If you can see it, you believe it, you can do it. And I said, I've been doing this like 8 times a day, 7 days a week for however long. I said, I've been seeing it so much, guys.
Right.
I believe in it so much that I acted on it, and I ripped off my ski cap.
They went nuts.
And there was a moment of silence, and then they just went berserk.
Dude.
They're like, let's go. Yeah, they were like jumping on my head, rubbing my head. I probably got a concussion. Like, it was wild. And then some of the coaches outside were like, what did you say to them to get them all riled up? And then fast forward, by the end of the meet, we had nearly a dozen guys score. After returning one guy, the year before we scored 6 points off of one guy, we had 54.5. We medaled in all 3 relays, including winning the DMR. We had the athlete of the meet. And the coach, Art McKinnon, who is my friend, mentor, and like a surrogate uncle to me, like an amazing man, he said that was the greatest year in Colgate history.
That's awesome.
Undoubtedly. Like we made a difference in the meet. That was our goal, be present in the meet.
Wow.
And a lot of coaches from different schools came up to him and said, you guys had one hell of a meet. It was our Super Bowl. 4th place was our, and to me, that's one of the greatest team achievements I've ever been a part of.
And those
4th
kids
place
will
team.
remember that.
They do.
For the
so
rest of their life. Yeah, exactly.
I take so much. Honest to God, I felt just as much pride in that 4th place as I did the 3rd place trophy at Stanford.
Yeah.
Because of what went into it.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter the level that you're at. If you put your heart and soul into something to achieve a result, that you've earned that result. That means something to you. It doesn't matter if you're going for a Patriot League championship, a national championship. And some people disagree with me because they believe in absolutes. But I believe, relatively speaking, it doesn't matter what your goal is. The effort and intent must be the same.
Yeah. I agree with that. If we're talking about absolutes, then every 100-meter runner is trash because you're not setting Usain Bolt's record. Right? Yeah. I can't remember who I was just talking to. A kid tried to put himself down. He was talking about his vaulting career, and he was like, "Yeah, it's good for my little." I was like, "Wait a minute, you have no choice over what your conference does or does not do. But you have a choice whether you win that conference or not." And he was trying to downplay his own. He was the conference champ in the pole vault, and he was trying to downplay. And I was like, "No, dude, that's the goal in front of you. You did it."
and that's been the goal everywhere I've been is become competitive at the level that you're at, and then see where you can take it.
Absolutely, because if you can't do that, how can you work on attaining the next regionals and nationals and USA, national champs, etc. Yeah, so you're bald now, so you're out of tricks.
Out of tricks. I can just play with the facial hair. That's all I got.
That doesn't seem like it has the same shave this off. That doesn't.
I mean, I wish I did it sooner.
Yeah.
But and then I got the call to come here.
Yeah. So what's it like? This is your first head coaching job.
First head coaching.
So what's it like putting together a staff? And I desperately would love to talk to you about a friend that we both have in common, Mr. Jared Rome.
Yes.
Obviously, he had our whole country had a setback. Our coaches had a setback because if anybody had met that man, you mourned when you got the news.
It's always come in with a vision, but always make sure that vision is drawn and written in pencil.
Interesting. Explain that a little bit more.
So you got to have a game plan. Have a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Have a 1, 5, 10-year plan and a vision. But there are going to be things that get in the way, and one in particular, there's always one thing that gets in the way of those plans, and that's called life.
Right.
That's called life, circumstance, context, nuance, everything.
Right.
And be able to bend and be able to not have a rigid view of the landscape and what it is, and be able to kind of grow with it. And I think that's something that helped me at first is knowing, dude, this is going to be a long-term project, and the most important thing off the bat is the experience of the student athlete, not the results at the conference or the PRs or anything. Right. I think those will take care of themselves, but a big piece for me is establishing, what our new standard is and how we're going to do that.
Right.
And bringing in a coaching staff that can buy in, that can see the vision, that are attracted to the vision and want to see it through with you.
Right. Can implement it for you.
Can implement it for you in their own way. And I come from a school of thought of, find and hire good people that are excited and proud of what they do and let them work.
Right.
Let them do their job.
Okay.
Let them do their job. And give them the parameters. Give them what the end you would like them to, what the end is.
Right.
Give them kind of the growth mindset direction you'd like to go in, and let them do it. And I'm very proud of the job I've done in hiring.
Yeah.
I honest to God think, coaching talent wise and just people, I have one of the best staffs in the country, without a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
I think the Flegels are phenomenal coaches. We're already seeing great results off the bat. I think Kristen Flegel is going to be a household name within the next 5 years.
And so what does she coach here?
So she coaches the jumps.
Okay.
She coaches the horizontals and the high jump and the multis.
Okay.
Steven coaches the pole vaulters.
Right.
We've already had immediate success.
Yeah, as excited you were in your group today, he excited you by 10, man.
Oh, you're telling me.
And where'd they come from?
They came from Luther College. They were both coaching their husband and wife. They were there for a year, but kind of they really got their chops in at Kristen was at Wisconsin Stevens Point, Division III, and had a phenomenal career there, as well as Benedictine.
Okay.
She coached 3 national champions herself individually.
Wow.
Different ones.
Yeah.
She's coached nearly 25 in first team All-Americans at Division III. In one given year at Division III, she had 4 jumpers over 7 meters, which at the Division III level, that doesn't happen.
Right.
She didn't inherit those guys.
Wow.
At Benedictine, I believe she had one young man that was 750, 1550, 219 jumper and was national athlete of the meet.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
She's good at what she does.
In an unbelievably competitive environment in the Wisconsin D3 system.
Yes.
Wow.
And she did this over years. Wow. It wasn't like she had a flash in the pan here. So you have to look at her body of work.
Right.
Same with Steven. Multiple All-Americans, individual champion in the high jump, or not high, excuse me, but in the pole vault at UChicago.
Okay.
As well. He was at UChicago for 6 years. So that's another thing. He was recruiting at UChicago for a number of years.
It's the academic side of it.
They both bring phenomenal positive energy. I think, with their enthusiasm, their tenacity, and their just warm hearts, we're going to be really good with them.
Yeah.
They fit in perfectly here. Paul Spangler's done a good job in recent years getting the distance program restarted.
Yeah.
Culminated in a women's cross country league title.
Yeah,
this year,
I saw that. Congrats. That's awesome. Yeah.
The men are just on the cusp. We're probably a recruiting class away or so.
Right. Paul, I do know how I know him.
Yeah.
We were in level 1 together way back in the day.
All right.
At in South Carolina, because he was at Florida State, and I grew up a huge Florida State fan. So it was like, hey, and then he went to Alabama, and good guy. Or no, he went to Alabama. He was coaching at Florida State. That's what it was.
Yeah. He's done a great job taking over Bruce Lehane, which is an impossible task just between coaching and meet management. Putting together world-class races. That we've become known for.
Absolutely.
And then Grant Cartwright replacing Jared Rome. Bless his heart. Grant Cartwright is the best young coaching prospect in the country.
Yeah, just 100%. Finished his career at Michigan, a fellow Wolverine.
Wolverine, happy stance. But he's been a student of the game for years.
Well, look who his coach was.
Exactly.
One of the most phenomenal teachers out there.
Jerry called me about him.
Okay.
And he said, Gabe, I've got a young man. You probably heard his name, Grant Cartwright. He's been at the national level, 7-time All-American. But he's been a volunteer assistant to me for a year. But he told me, Gabe, that he wants to coach. And if he got an opportunity, the right opportunity, he would be done. He would hang up his shot instantly. And he said, Gabe, I have 4 coaches that are actively coaching in the NCAA right now that are former athletes that are doing it at a pretty high level. And he named them.
Big time. Absolutely.
Right.
He has a great tree.
Great tree. And he said, Gabe, this young man has just as good, if not a better, coaching pedigree than that.
Wow.
So,
and he's a guy that he's a no BS guy.
He doesn't he's not going to BS. And I'm like, all right. I called Grant, had a great informal phone conversation interview, and he was great. And most importantly, he was very humble, and he was very forthright with what he felt his shortcomings were. And I think that was really important.
And he can't be
23.
Yeah, okay.
23.
Right.
He was really wise and mature beyond his years.
I'll say that's self-awareness at that age.
Yes. Yeah. And then, he's like, he even said, the javelin's probably like my short event right now. Sure. And I'm actively working on that. And I made sure, I'm like, well, are you going to coach how you were coached? He's like, no. He's like, I get my hands on every piece of coaching material I can get my hands on. I look at all different schools of thought, looking at, this style, that style, John Smith, Wolin, all these different people. I'm not married to one system necessarily, depending on the thrower.
Right.
Brought him in for his formal interview, and he knocked it out of the park. And maybe I had a low bar because he was so young, but even if the bar was higher, he was great. And even that coaching search for that throws position, I honestly believe was, again, coaching talent was the best coaching search in the country. I had some really good coaches in for that.
Interesting.
Not at the Division I level, but at the Division II, the Division III, like the hidden gems. I found like you really got to do your homework on, but these guys are good. The thing that's really set Grant apart was the vision that we may have touched on, but I believe that Boston University can be and will be one of the most preeminent athletic academic programs in the NCAA, 100%. I believe if you're talking mid-May, I think we can and will be the Houston of the Northeast.
Wow.
Or like the Boise State of football.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Gonzaga of basketball.
Right.
I think we could do that here. I truly believe that. And what set Grant apart was, it's not a vision I have to sell to him. He's been a part of it. He's been a part of one of the most elite throws programs in the country. He's been runner-up in the weight throw at the National League. He's a 7-time first-team All-American.
Right.
There's no vision. He's been a part of it.
Right.
So he intimately knows what the goal is. He's been a part of it.
Right.
Been a part of a Big Ten championship team, a Power 5 championship. So he gets it. And he's had at least half a dozen moments in exchange that we've had that I'm like, this was the right hire.
Yeah, that's great for to have that reaffirmation.
There's so much affirmation left and right, and from my whole staff.
Right.
So I'm so confident, so excited about what's going to come for us in the years.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a slow build, but we're hustling.
Yeah.
We're hustling, and we're doing a great job working with the kids that we have, and there is a lot of talent on this team.
Right.
Both, physical talent and just mental talent, and also the yearning for that next step, that next direction, and bringing in a championship mentality. And having an understanding that every single person from top to bottom can contribute to a championship program.
Right.
Because when I had to clarify this, I said, raise your hand if you don't exactly know how you contribute to a championship program. Because I can imagine you saying, he's saying we got to win a championship, but I'm not even ranked in the top 20, or I haven't done this, my PR is this.
Right.
I said, you contribute to this program through your effort.
Okay.
Full stop. Because your effort is contagious.
And that can help
100%.
the other person who's 9th right now get to 8th, which will get them a point, things like that.
Let's say, God forbid, you're in a boot and you're on the air assault bike and you are busting your butt. Your teammates see that.
Absolutely.
And they appreciate that.
Right.
I mean, and let's say you're 100% healthy, but you're half-assing through your drills.
They see that.
They see that. You're out on a Saturday night and they know about it or whatever. You're hammered. They see that.
Right.
So your effort helps or hurts this team. So every single person on this team matters. If you're on this roster, you matter. And it's very important for anybody, not just young people, to know that they matter somewhere.
Yeah.
That they are important, that they are a contributor.
They bring value. Yeah.
They are valued.
Right.
And something that Jeremy Gunn at Stanford, three consecutive year national champion in soccer.
Right.
The phrase I keep coming back to with him, he said, there's something to be said for being a part of a high-performing environment.
Okay.
Period.
All right.
And that is translatable everywhere, in everything that you do, and that's what we're bringing here.
Right.
Let's be high performers in everything that let's be excellent. Let's be you.
I like that. So something you said a little bit ago that kind of struck me was about having a plan, but making sure it's in pencil. So obviously building a staff was important to you, the right people in the right places and things like that. and I'll assume you thought you had that right person, and you did with Jared. So speaking of writing in pencil, you know, he passes away this fall. That was not in the plan, of course. How did that affect the program?
It was really tough in many different regards. Obviously, emotionally, it was impossible, you know, and to be quite honest, I had only personally known Jared for about 5 weeks.
Sure.
And I actively leaned into that fact. Even though I knew when I met this guy, I'm like, we're going to be best friends. Like, and I found it after, like, he said the same thing about me. It's like, I love Gabe. He's a cool guy. I love what he's selling and what have you. But I emotionally tried to remove myself so I could be more available in my position and for everyone else, for the kids on the team, for the staff, for the department, for the community. And if it was 5 months after, I would have been inconsolable. 5 years, forget about it.
Yeah,
you know. But you know, we powered through, and again, we were short-staffed. We only have 4 full-time coaches. Now we're down to 3 with a couple volunteers, and you know, people had to pick up their weight in other areas, you know, and pick up other people's weight. But it just doubled down on how good a staff I have. We leaned on each other. We relied on each other. You know, we held it together for the kids, and the kids were able to not power through it, but, you know, navigate their way through it. We did a great, it was great to have the mental health support that we had on campus and the athletic department. The administration was amazing.
You mentioned you have a lot of support here, so you had a lot of that available for the athletes and the coaches. Yeah,
it was tough, but we made it through. I mean, Kristen, who shared an office with him, she used the conference room for about a week. So like she couldn't be in there. You know, it was like because she's facing that desk every day.
Sure.
You know, but even still, another thing is something I got from even Chris Miltenberg. You know, to kind of switch gears a little bit is even, you know, how do you want to score your points? You know, because you could have this mindset, and initially my mindset was, okay, we're going to be like a sprints, throws, distance program with me, Jared, and whoever in jumps will rely on, walk-ons, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's too early for that. Like, give everyone a fair shake.
Yeah.
Let's see who you bring to the table. Let's see who you recruit, who you bring to the table. Who can you coach? Who coaches up? Who utilizes the money they have? Who, you know, earns that money with recruits, and see where it goes. And just giving everyone a fair shake, because we're going to be a pretty good jumps program, a good pole vault program, a good throws program, and you know, with the different avenues of financial aid and athletic scholarship, I think we could be a very, very, very well-rounded program. I don't think we're going to have to rely on all our points here, all our points there.
Interesting.
You know, again, I have a great staff that is ready to get after it and are enjoying themselves while they do it. And it's, again, long term. You know, I'm not hung up on, you know, the Patriot League Championship in a month. We want to do this the right way. You know, we're going to put our best foot forward. We're going to come in and perform. We're going to get after it. But if we fall short, then so be it. We put our best foot forward, and we're always thinking big picture. And even selling the championship program, we could be a national level team, a Patriot League Championship team. If you're a senior, you have a direct hand in that success years down the line. The legacy that you leave and the mentality that you bring to the table every single day. So I've told the seniors, like, guys, with the work that you do, when we win our first championship on the men's side, first one like ever, you will have had a direct hand in that. 100%.
Yeah, it's sometimes a tough sell to make, because it's hard for a 20, 21, 22-year-old kid to see that what they're doing is laying foundation for something in the future, where maybe a freshman says, okay, well, good, I'll be here for 4 years, so I get to see this.
And that's where maturity comes in. Maturity comes in, and also, in turn, recruiting the right person that has that perspective of long-term vision and holistic plan. You know, and we got a good thing going here. We got the right products, we got the right people, we got the right resources, and good things can happen here. We can do it the right way. You know, we haven't touched the transfer portal. You know, and we do have the ability to do that. We can take transfers.
We can do a whole show on transfer portal.
I'm sure we could. But, you know, I gave scholarship money to 2 kids sight unseen this year. Because they were seniors that were walk-ons that had scored at the Patriot League Championships, that had not been on money, that ended up being captains on the team, and I gave them scholarship because they deserved that and they earned that. You know, so
So, Gabe, there's no doubt you're going to, whether it's a Patriot League or another third or even higher place at Nationals, obviously it's going to happen. You're putting together a great plan, and certainly we're going to have to redo this interview when that happens and see how those pencil plans got chiseled into granite, right?
Yeah.
But now let's take a turn. We've had you've filled us in phenomenally in a really great way about you as the coach, as Coach Sanders. Do they call you Coach Sanders or Coach Gabe?
Coach Sanders.
Yeah, okay.
Coach Sanders.
So let's go off the track and let's talk about Gabe. So what do? You can't coach 24/7. I know a guy like you wants to.
Yeah.
But what do you like to do off a track? How do you kind of blow off steam, and what hobbies and what have you?
I mean, it might sound funny, but my hobby is my family.
Yeah.
There's only so much time you have, and when you get married, and then when you have a child, I will only speak for myself. I try not to be that guy that says this is what it's like.
Right.
But for me,
you're not old enough to. You'll do that one day when you get
I'm
old.
sure I will. I'm sure I will. But I do the best that I can to prioritize time with my family. And being present. That's something I try and practice. What I preach when I talk to the kids. It's, when you're at practice, I don't want to hear about your problem sets. I don't want to hear about your exams, your projects. Like, be here now.
Right.
Be present.
Be in the now.
When you're in lecture, I don't want you thinking about the workout. I don't want you to think about the meet.
Yeah.
Like, focus on your lecture. So I do the best I can to practice what I preach and just be present for my family.
So, but how do you do that? Now, I'm a former coach myself too now, and luckily I got out of it before cell phones were the big thing. But how do you handle being at home and having dinner with the wife and kid, and an athlete text or calls or what have you? How do you help separate that?
I do the best I can to draw lines, and first and foremost, let me be clear. I've evolved to think that there is no such thing as an absolute balance. Balance is a whole cup.
You're talking about work-life balance?
Work-life balance.
Yeah, okay.
Work-life. I think balance is to each individual person.
Okay.
What makes your cup full?
Okay.
Some people are quote unquote 50-50, but some people are 70-30. Some people are 80-20.
Right.
And they're happy with that. Mm-hmm. So this is not a sitting here in judgment of everyone, but for me, something that I really got into a few years ago when I was at Stanford was the concept of deep work. And
deep work. Okay.
And this is something that Cal Newport, the author, he is a computer science engineering professor at Georgetown. Great book, Deep Work. The idea of essentially being very binary with your time and your focus. So when you are doing tasks that you have to think very deeply on a daily basis, not shallow. So something that's shallow is, let's say, answering emails or taking an inventory or doing organization at the track or something like that. Something that really doesn't take a lot of work. Answering voicemails.
Right.
Deep work, that in my world, is sitting down and diving into a training cycle.
Right. Okay.
Sitting down and diving into writing an alumni letter. A really good one. Sitting down and really dialing into the budget.
Right.
Things of that nature.
Right.
Like operational things that are very important and have to get done, and it takes a lot of psychological and emotional effort.
And have to be done really well.
It has to be done really well.
Right, okay. So deep in that, you have to really
dial in.
Yeah, okay.
You have to dial into that and focus on the things that are monumentally important as to what you do. Like the whole focus 80% of your energy on the 20% that matters.
Yeah,
the rest. That's kind of a way to think of it. If you do that effectively, you can do this. I don't want to say 9 to 5, but you can go home and leave work here.
All right.
So that Cal Newport says, when I work really, really hard.
Right.
Really hard. So when I go home, I'm good.
So that's the philosophy you're bringing here?
That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I try to.
Yeah.
I absolutely fall short on some days because I get distracted. And
you mean you're human?
I'm human. Like, email's the bane of my existence, and I get caught up in it, or in my position, when someone knocks, it's usually pretty important.
Sure.
It's probably one of the more important interactions of their day.
Right.
Someone talking to the director, the head coach, their boss, what have you. But for me, when I leave the office, I try to turn to my family.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, that's it. I even tell my staff, think of it this way, guys. If you are about to send a text to me or the group or an email or something like that, and it's 8, 9 o'clock at night,
right.
really ask yourself, does this need to be answered
Right.
absolutely right now, or can it wait 12 hours?
Right. Right.
Like, stop and ask yourself that.
Right.
If it probably can wait for 12 hours, then wait for 12 hours.
Right.
Because now what you do is you text me. Now it's on my mind. It's on the staff's mind.
Right.
Like, the email thing will pop up, and I'm like, I can't answer that right now.
Right.
Like,
so you're never away from it now with cell phones
Yeah.
and iPads.
Yeah,
and,
so it's something where we try, like, if you want to text me a joke or something like that, but if it's like, oh, Coach, I wanted to go to this meet. I'm thinking about going to this meet. Or, Coach, I wanted to ask you about, the uniform choice this weekend.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah, could
like,
we talk about that at 8? Yeah.
Really, really shallow
Yeah.
big picture.
Right.
And again, like a shallow thing,
yeah.
but it can take up space in your head.
Right.
I tell my staff, like, when you can, take your Sundays. Take your Sundays.
Yeah.
But again, someone like, let's say, Grant Cartwright, young 23-year-old, he's got a girlfriend in town, but he works on Sunday.
Right.
Like, he recruits on Sunday. He does training plans on Sunday.
Right.
His javelin throwers don't train on Saturdays, so based on his schedule, they practice for a couple hours on Sunday.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
because that's his stage.
That's his stage
of life and career.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all of us evolve. Like,
Right.
I operated totally differently when I was 20,
Sure.
24, 25 and single
Right.
versus being 35, 36 and married.
Right.
Versus, being 36 and being the director of a program.
Right.
Versus being an assistant.
Right.
So
what
again,
are you doing on Sundays then? What do you? Little boy's 2.
A little over 2.
So now he's a real person in my
Yep.
mind. So he's interacting. He likes to do stuff. What are you guys doing on
It's
Sundays?
really simple. It's the simplest things for me. I'd like to think I speak to a lot of dads. Something as simple as, instead of your wife waking up with your son, like, you wake up with him, and you, like, for me, he loves yogurt and Cheerios, so we have his yogurt. And then, like, he wants some cheesy eggs, where I cook him cheesy eggs, and we share breakfast. I have a coffee, he has milk and eggs, and we share the eggs and the toast, and we do that. He's starting to ride an assisted bike. We go out for a little bike ride.
Yeah.
We might go to, like, the trampoline palace or something like that.
Right.
He takes a nap, and maybe I'll do a little perusing on Flow Track or Mile Split, and maybe I'll make some recruiting calls. Maybe,
Right.
Right now with our exact stage, we're working on moving into a house, so we'll talk about things that we have to do with the move-in.
Right.
When it's more regular, we might say, hey, what do we want to do? Do we want to go to the park today?
Right. Yeah.
Do we want to go to the trampoline palace? Do we want to do these things?
I mean, here in Boston, there's a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Do we want to go to the aquarium? Do we just want to stay at home today and hang out?
Right.
So, what kind of activities do we want to do as a family?
Right.
Because I know time is probably the most valuable, infinite, and simultaneously finite resource we have.
Right.
And obviously with the timing of this, you can look at Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
rest his soul recently.
Oh, man.
You just never know.
Right.
Time in all areas of every single person's life is the most infinite and finite that we have at the same time.
Yeah.
You always say, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll do this, I'll do that. But then you know what? 5 seconds ago, you can't get 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
It's really understanding and putting down Twitter and putting down Facebook and putting down Snapchat and TikTok and just being present.
Yeah, absolutely.
With whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
I haven't had the time for any hobbies yet, or just to sit down and I can't wait for the day when I can just sit down and watch a Netflix binge. Which I could do years ago.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the time I have with my family. I enjoy watching my son grow up. I enjoy watching my son grow up with his grandparents right now.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
That's awesome.
I know it sounds cliche, but I'm a family guy. And I just like spending time with my family.
That's awesome.
I'm a jock. I like to work out, when I can, when I can afford it, at the time to do it, when I can afford the time to do it. I think in years down the line when I have a little more free time, maybe I'll go to Celtics games every other Sunday or something like that.
Yeah.
I got some buddies in town and they like to bike ride, and maybe I'll end up buying a bike. Who knows?
Yeah, lots of
Who
biking
knows?
here, yeah.
But I know as a family man, things tend to revolve around what the family wants.
That's it, man. You just put so many, unintentionally, you just put so many coaches, male coaches, to shame because we get very selfless in the sense of our kids that we coach.
Yeah.
But that in turns is also selfish because we sometimes put our families and children and husbands and wives on the back burner. So that's a good lesson, and that is the best place to stop right there, because if people learn anything from this podcast with you, Gabe, if they'll learn that, we'll have much healthier mental, physical, emotional coaches, and really people, because that's
100%.
what we are, man. That's
100%.
awesome. Dude, thank you so much.
Mike, this has been great, man. I really appreciate it. This was easy. You were
awesome.
right.
This
is
is
it already been an hour?
It's an hour plus. We've
All
gone
right.
over an hour, and honestly, we could go another hour, but you got to get home to the family.
Yes, I do.
Because you're a family man.
Yes, sir. Mike, thanks so much,
Thanks a
brother.
lot, brother. Appreciate you so much. Woo! What a great hour. What a way to end it there with Gabe dropping some knowledge. He even got a book recommendation. I am going to check that out. I hope you do as well. If you've made it this far, thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed connecting with this interview as much as I did. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, contact me at hurdle@gillathletics.com. That's right, hurdle@gillathletics.com. In the meantime, we hope you feel led to share this podcast on your social media network of choice, and join us again in the future to connect with another fine track coach across the country.